Hello everyone and welcome back to Better on the Deck. Today I'm here to take a look at Palworld on the Steam Deck. So let's talk about how it works, how it looks, is all the hype deserved, and at the end I'll share a few tips if you're just starting out in this strange world. So sit back and let's take a look at Palworld on the Steam Deck, shall we? Gotta preface this video by saying today's footage was not captured on my Steam Deck. Palworld on any settings in OBS did not get along and would completely lock the Steam Deck up about 5 minutes into recording the game. So this footage is recorded on my PC. So this little game was released to early access on January 18th, 2024 on the Steam. It's even seen a console release to the Xbox as well. To say that it's had a pretty successful release is kind of an understatement. At the time of writing this script, the reviews on Steam are very positive and there are almost 240,000 of them. I decided to check this out after hearing a few people in another game I play talk about it, and they sounded pretty hyped for it. Hell, I even overheard a few of the maintenance guys at work talk about it, so I had to pick up a copy. Let's see how it works on the deck. So far, I've sunk just under 140 hours into Palworld. I think the first 25 hours I spent on the PC just to kind of get a feel for it. Then I decided to run a dedicated server on my PC for my wife and my kid, and obviously myself, just to sort of see how it runs on the Steam Deck. I really liked it on the PC, and playing it on the Steam Deck was no different. The game looks and performs quite well on the Steam Deck. So the initial reasoning behind playing Palworld on the Steam Deck was, while playing on the PC I would crash a decent amount, but it's early access so I came to expect that. So I thought it's time to put it on the deck and see how different the performance is. Would it crash less? Would it look good? Just how similar are the two experiences? I've left the settings as they are in install, which it defaults to high, and inside our base, and well everywhere really, I get a steady 30 FPS, which for this game, it's plenty, it works. Playing on an older high-def TV makes the game look a wee bit saturated. I don't know why, but I think the reason may be the settings on the TV itself. Not a huge deal, and actually kind of gives the game a warmer feeling. Everything still looks sharp, the animations are decently smooth, and combat isn't choppy. The one funny thing is pals off in the distance look like they're out of Paper Mario and they move all jittery. This is pretty funny. The different biomes really make the world feel vast and detailed. For instance, my kid and I built a base up by the volcano for the sulfur, and holy man, it looks great during the day, but at night, it's really something else to behold. It's gorgeous. I find the different biomes immersive. Like if you go to a desert during the day, it's of course stupid hot. But if you go to the desert at night, it's stupid freezing cold. Pair the visuals with some great sound and you've got yourself the total package. I don't have a great deal to say about the sound. Don't get me wrong, it's well done. The ambient sounds lend themselves well to their respective biomes. The music is well done. The sound design in general is well executed and well placed. During my note taking for this video and subsequent script writing, I couldn't really come up with much to say about it that was meaningful. So, sound good. Overall, performance-wise, Palworld runs great on the Steam Deck. I've had minimal crashes, no stuttering, the rare frame rate drop. So far, all of the crashes I've had on the Steam Deck seem to be related to fast traveling. Otherwise, I haven't had any other crashes. Speaking about how this game works, I've seen people raise the concern that the mishmash of art styles clash, that they don't work together. I think these people are on drugs. I mean, come on. Collectible monsters that can use guns and you can put to work to make things for you. Hell, they even keep your food cold. I have a pal whose sole job is to provide electricity for the entire base.
Certainly can't be someone whose entire culture powers my brake lights!
How can you not think that's just awesome? I mean, the game looks pretty good, but how does it play? I haven't really sunk any time into handheld mode while playing Palworld. I've just been playing it docked with the Xbox controller so far. My wife, however, plays Palworld exclusively in handheld mode, and I haven't answered any control-related questions from her so far, so I can only assume that the deck controls are just as intuitive as the controller is. I would expect this since Palworld is playable on the Xbox. The controls are well laid out and simple to master, although sometimes I will throw an empty PAL sphere when I mean to some of my current PAL, but I did it on the PC as well. With its playstyle, the controls are pretty simple and straightforward. So what are a few things you can do with those controls? There is lore to this game, but in reality, I'm just making a guess at that, since you can pick up these journal recordings scattered about the world. I have yet to read a single one. I've been way too caught up in roaming the land, catching cool pals, fighting bosses, as well as building a sweet base that's always evolving. Base building is really cool, but to have an effective base, it needs to be as flat as possible and not cluttered. The first base my kid and I built, it was a cramped little area next to the river, and the pals were constantly getting stuck outside of the boundary of the base, and then you would have to return them to the pal box. They would starve because they can't walk to the feed bowl. The building is pretty intuitive. It's simple and self-explanatory as far as what you can and can't do. As you unlock more and more items to build, that's where things got silly for me, and I am here for it. You hit a certain level and start unlocking 19th century decorations and furniture, and it just makes me giggle. I just love everything about this game's art style and direction. At first it doesn't make any sense, and then it just suddenly does. And you don't think about it anymore, and you just kind of accept it, and that's it. One of the high points of building and crafting in general in this game is that you don't need to keep materials in your personal inventory to build or craft. If you have the materials in a chest somewhere on your base, they automatically come from there. It is brilliant. There is a lot to craft, many bosses to fight, breeding, cooking, catching, and weird-ass fangirls to scrap with. All this wrapped up in a visually appealing world rife with different biomes and zones. So much to do, and the deck does a great job at sending all that to your brain eyes. There's nothing I don't like how this plays on the Steam Deck, and not much I don't like about this game in general. And the things that I don't like are the obvious performance issues. But again, it's early access, so I expect and hope those are addressed in the future. Some other things I'm not a fan of are there is currently no way to filter items going into chests. So you could set it so only specific things can go in specific chests. Pals will just put whatever they want, wherever they want. Whatever they're carrying just goes into whatever chest, and it's not always the closest chest. Speaking of specifics, the lack of detailed control of Pal's daily schedule, and the pathing. The pathing is sometimes wonky as hell. So what is it that sets this animal collecting game apart from that other one that's been around for decades now? I mean, for me, one of the biggest points of Palworld is that it's multiplayer. It's essentially an MMO, I guess. And I don't know about you, but as a longtime Pokemon player, I've always wished I could wander around with friends, catching cool things and whooping boss ass. Secondly, it's how there is more to do than just catch and fight. Palworld adds a base building mechanic, which takes gameplay to a whole nother level. Plus, there's crafting and conquering the world through superior firepower. Hell, sometimes I won't even do anything with the pals. I'll just spend a few hours building goofy stuff to play out some ridiculous scenario I've dreamed up in my head, which kinda helps figure out good ways to do things. Which leads me up to wanting to share a few tips that I've come across with everyone that's just starting out before I wrap up the video. So as I mentioned previously, when choosing a site for your base, make sure it's as flat as possible and open with little clutter. A nice big clearing is best. The pals need room to move, and the less clutter there is, the better your pals will work. And there should also be a resource available on your site depending on the purpose of the base that you're building, especially early on. Speaking of early on, catch everything. Catching multiples of a single pal nets you an XP bonus for each capture, and then on the 10th catch you get a nice fat XP bonus. Don't worry about losing the drops, because when you catch a pal you get its drops. Then save those pals for later. They will come in handy when you unlock the butcher knife. You can level up real fast doing this. Build your base as flat and open as possible. I would recommend to keep their working area free of clutter. Less chance pals wind up with pathing issues and things just operate so much better. Your second base should be an ore mining base. You need ingots for so many things when you hit mid-game. So setting up a simple mining camp with beds, chests near the pal box, and a food bowl, just remember to make sure you check on them every now and then. In conclusion, I am having a blast with this game. It plays very well on the deck. My complaints are few and mostly relate to early access up to this point. I like the potential this game has. I feel while similar to that other animal collecting game, this one has a bit more on offer for a different crowd. It of course could use some polish, sure, but what has been delivered shows the enormous potential this game has if the quick growth is handled correctly. This game has elements of almost all of my favorite game types. Personally, I feel like it's worth the money in its current state. This game has a bright future. Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble, but it's a hella fun gamble. This game is absolutely fantastic. In my opinion, Palworld is what you get when you set out to make a good game with the players in mind and listening to what they have to say. To me, Palworld feels like it was made for the players and not the shareholders. Will it stay that way? I sure hope so. Well, that's it. As always, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're a champ, and I love you very much. I hope to see you back for the next one. So until then, enjoy life on the deck and take it easy, eh?